Today's High Performance Podcast is brought to you by Josh Phegan Digital. It's where you'll find our revolutionary blueprint course. There's only one place that you can go from zero to hero over a weekend by watching the incredible blueprint. It's everything you'll need to be that $1 million agent. Prospecting, listing, negotiation, and growth. Broken up into short 15-minute pieces, skip to the content you need now or watch from the beginning to end. Only on Josh Phegan Digital.
Welcome to High Performance, the podcast featuring Josh Phegan and Alexander Phillips. Alexander, without a doubt, one of the biggest things that we get with a lot of agents is that they're trying to get prepared for all of these objections that they're going to get. Objections are a natural part of the sales process. You're going to get people that are in a position that they're saying, hey, I don't want to use you, you're a director. I don't want to use you, you're not a director. I don't want to use you, you're new. I don't want to use you because, you haven't sold enough properties in the area. You're an out-of-area agent. You do too many properties in this area. You must almost laugh a little bit internally at some points where you just think about all these objections that keep coming at you. And once you've got the strength there, then all of a sudden they go the objection the other side. How does an agent get good at being able to anticipate the objections they would receive and learn to develop a way or one line or an approach to be able to overcome that objection so that they know how to get past it to win?
There's about 5 or 6 standard objections that we get that have been planted by other agents generally. That we've got a full toolkit to get around them very quickly, and we actually hit them on the head, very early on.
Yeah, sure. So bring it up first.
Yeah, and actually ask them, what's your concern with using? Why wouldn't you use us?
So someone might say to you, oh, Alex, I heard that you're too busy. You're not going to be there at my open for inspections. And that was starting to happen. I remember when you were at 5 or 6 opens on a Saturday, you're like, well, how do I get past this? And then as it started to scale and you got to 10, 12 and 14, one of the things that you then went to was to say, well, hey, this is actually what my open for schedule looks like. This is the team that's going to come with me. So you were bringing that up front and then, showing them how it was a greater benefit because you were already selling 2 or 3 properties in the same price range and you could share buyers and a whole range of those things, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. And also, as the years have gone on and our team's got more mature and more years behind them, and Kenji been with me for 10 years, Gavin 8 years. You don't actually come across that much. If there's that vendor that's really needy, well, I do all the opens. We juggle things around and we rearrange what we're doing.
And that's, I think, the most important part for anyone is to actually make sure, hey, what are the objections that you keep on getting, and then literally go and change the way that you do that. If someone says to you, oh, Alex, to be honest, our property is probably too much of a lower price, you only sell the higher end stuff, how do you handle that objection?
That's very straightforward. We just show our past 20 apartment sale graph or past 20 houses and say, because that is, it's sometimes our perception. We only sell $8 million houses. Our average sale price is $4 million. Your place is worth $3.5 million. We're in your price range every day, or it's actually already pre-prepared. If I'm going into a $2 million unit, I'm showing them 10 brochures of properties we've sold over the last 2 months of $2 million units.
Yes.
So, and a top 5 buy list.
Yeah.
If you're fully prepared, it goes away very quickly.
Alex, I'm just not that sure that you've got that much market share or you sell that much in the high end. So although we've got a very expensive house and you just do sell a lot in Bronte, we just think that maybe we might go and use someone else. How do you use that?
Again, it's a social proof. These are the last 5 properties we've sold at over 20 million. This is where the buyer came from.
Yeah.
This is a demographic of buyer. This is how we found the buyer.
Yeah.
This property was on the market for 9 months with a leading agent who sells more in this price range. We came in and sold it in 10 days, and this is how our process worked. This is what we did differently.
And I think the big conversation on that is also to say, hey, we sell a lot in the price range just before. Most likely the buyer who's going to buy is the seller who's currently selling with us today. So we've got a good relationship with them. We know where they're at and what to do next. Alex, I'm just a bit worried that some of your team members are new to industry and maybe we're not going to get you as much. How can we be confident in that new person that they're going to be okay at our open house?
Well, we've got combined 75 years of experience within our team, and I'll be overseeing it and know that that's not actually the case. This person's been here for 10 years. So,
and they wouldn't be on my team if they're not really good at what they do.
Exactly.
And I think this is the big part, is that you're really backing those people in. Another objection people are going to get shortly, hey, there's an election. We think we might wait till after the election. What sort of dialogue are you going to be using there to help a buyer and or a seller get off that fence?
The market doesn't stop. The only reason why the market would stop is if there's a big property policy coming up around negative gearing or land tax or whatever it is, and therefore, yes, you'd see a slowdown, but at this stage, there's no sort of policy around that. Everyone else is waiting. The stock levels are, at a level where you would go to market now. You might find that there's an oversupply post-election.
I love that conversation. Say, hey, Alex, I got to say this to you. I just want to make sure I got it right. Are you saying that if I had someone really good, just no? And they go, oh, no, like you could probably mention us. Would it hurt to get a contract and just some photos ready? And we can do it after the election.
Yeah.
But hey, I would say this to you. You're close to a voting booth. Would you be anti being available and open for inspection on the day of the election? Because there's just going to be everyone in Sydney has to be out. Why wouldn't we try to get them through your open house? Does it so sometimes it's not just actually having the thing to say, it's actually about using some questions to get people more creative around it, right?